Hello, hello, and welcome to another 2 Network match report with me, Adam. It's finished Newcastle United 1, Huddersfield Town 0. It's a huge 3 points in our bid for survival this season in the Premier League under Rafa Benitez. I said a few weeks ago, obviously there's been a big international break leading up to this post the Southampton thrashing of 3-0. But I said kind of before the Southampton game that I believed that wins against Southampton and Huddersfield, very winnable games, and we've proved that, we've done that, we've got 6 out of 6 points against both, that would all but confirm our survival this season, and I still believe that to be the case. So we've won 1-0. Other results have gone our way. So Brighton lost against Leicester. Man United beat Swansea. West Brom lost again. I mean, they were already down, but that's absolutely confirmed. They're gone. Pardew's gone. West Ham, more importantly, beat Southampton 3-0. So it feels like they're in a free fall as well. Even Everton, who were kind of shuffling closer towards in the table, are getting absolutely smashed by Man City 3-0 at half time. So results have hugely gone our way today. But let's bring it back to the game itself. Obviously, Matt Ritchie was the only major doubt from our starting 11 at Southampton, who withdrew from the Scotland squad. He was about 75% to play. So as much as it was kind of down to Rafa's judgment on whether he felt that he could get 100% out of Ritchie for the game, but he was fit enough to start, and he did, and we maintained the same team as we did against Southampton. And you know, as a first half, it was very similar to what we've seen from us, particularly at home, that we out the blocks quickly. That's what Rafa Benitez wanted, creating a lot of chances. We really did create a lot of chances today, but we did like a lot of cutting edge throughout the game, but it always felt comfortable. Another strange thing was that we enjoyed, well, I say enjoyed, we had about 63% possession today against at home, and that's actually our average home possession is somewhere in the 40s. It's certainly below 50%. I think our average is probably around 43%. So to have 63% of possession, have such disparity from what we're used to, I think kind of, as much as Rafa might have maybe thought we might have had a bit more than usual, I think it took the team a little bit by surprise. And because Huddersfield were happy for us to have the ball, usually what happens at home and away as well is that we'll sit back, we don't necessarily want possession, we'll soak up pressure, and we'll look to break on the counter-attack. Now today we were in control, we were in possession, but because Huddersfield sat deep, we couldn't break on the counter-attack, which is one of our biggest strategies, if you like, this season. So with Huddersfield sitting deep, our build-up play, we had to be quite patient with it, and we kept sort of switching from one wing to the other, and but I did notice that the crowd didn't necessarily get on the players' backs just for holding possession. I think they understood that. I mean, I'm not talking in generally the St James's Park faithful, but often a sideways pass or a backwards pass can be met with groans and sighs of people who would probably prefer we hit the ball forward, lump it up and lose possession straight away, which I can never understand personally. But I think Huddersfield were pretty well drilled, to be honest, and that's only defensively, but I think going forward they really struggled to offer us enough. Now, we knew going into the game that Huddersfield were quite goal shy away from home, and it really showed today. I mean, Huddersfield didn't manage a shot on target today, and that tells you everything you need to know. We created a lot of chances, mainly in the first half. So there was an incident where Perez had been fouled. He played it back to Shelvey, who stop the ball, quick thinking to take the free kick, knocks it over the ball, knocks it over the defensive wall, sorry, and Gale's through one-on-one. The Huddersfield goalkeeper, Lursel, comes out, does make himself quite big, and Gale tries to lob him, and it just goes past the post, and he's a bit gutted, and it's a big chance. I mean, with better composure, you take around the goalkeeper and you knock it in for 1-0, and it's comfortable. Another incident we had, another goal chance we had was came from Richie finding, on a counter-attack, Richie finding Yedlin in bags of space on the right-hand side, and he delivered a really dangerous ball in the first half that fell to Dwight Gale again, who he sort of sat up for him, and he fired it over the bar, and you're just wondering, you know, I don't think I was panicking at that point, because I thought, well, we're creating chances, we look in control. Gale is missing them, but he's making himself available. He's putting himself positionally in dangerous positions. There was another chance that we had where Kennedy got another shoulder. He sort of controlled it on the shoulder. Gale tried a spectacular overhead kick, which was very well blocked by the Huddersfield defence, and it came out to Joe Shelvey, who just fired it wide, and Gale almost got a toe on it as well, and I think if he got a full toe on it, it might have then deflected past Lursel for 1-0 again, but we were ultimately frustrated. You know, Darmier had a blocked shot, Lejeune had a blocked shot, also in the first half, and you know, as much as they weren't creating a lot of chances themselves, which they absolutely weren't, although it's not to say that they didn't have their moments in the game to frustrate us and to maybe put us under a little bit of pressure, we were really the creators of our own downfall in the first half by simply not putting chances away, which has been, as we've talked about many times on these match reports, a recurring theme throughout the season. Islam Slimani, the loan signing from Leicester, finally managed to make the bench after a bit of action for Algeria over the international break. It wasn't going to start, but I thought that his presence, at least on the bench, was going to, you know, maybe get Perez and Gale working a little bit harder to have to raise their game, because now there's, you know, competition, and this is something that Rafa's wanted for a long time. This is why he wanted to buy more players in the summer, to provide competition, to raise the game of players who might not be the most talented in the league, but working hard and with a bit of a push. Look at Mo Diarmi, for example. You know, his performances, and again, he was really, really solid. He sadly went off with what looked like a little knock. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. But his is an example of Rafa Benitez really squeezing every last drop of talent, potential, and the right mentality out of his players in order to create a team that's bigger than the sum of its parts, and that's how he's been able to get us to the place that we're at right now, having on the back of, you know, 3 home wins, which is just huge, absolutely huge, to have destroyed Southampton, to have beaten Man United, and now in such a crucial relegation 6-pointer against our new age rivals in Huddersfield Town. But I think there was almost we've come up with Huddersfield. It was very tight with them last season as well. We've had a very, very similar season to Huddersfield and Brighton in that respect, and it's almost like, you know, these are teams that haven't really been established Premier League clubs ever before. We need to be the established Premier League club, and I think today was an opportunity for us to cement our places. You know, to kind of say, you know, with the greatest of respect to Huddersfield Town, you're not our peer. We have a bigger history in the Premier League. We deserve to be here. We belong here. You know, the fact that, you know, looking at their Premier League experience in their own squad and their manager versus what Rafa Benitez brings, and yes, our squad isn't the most experienced Premier League squad you get. It's a very young squad, but the players that we have got, look at Shelvey, look at Atsu, even Gale, these kind of players have experience in the Premier League. Even Yedlin, who's turned out for Tottenham, he's turned out for Sunderland. We've got, you know, Dummett's played a lot. Richie obviously for Bournemouth and Newcastle now, so we do have a lot more Premier League experience, and I think today was one of those results that we really had to grind out, but we just kind of showed our class and showed that we had the quality that sets us apart from these other teams in the bottom half. So after quite a frustrating first half, sorry, it wasn't frustrating, it was really enjoyable to watch, but it was frustrating to not be in the lead and not have anything to show for the domination, the possession, and the shots that we had managed, which was a shame. We had a couple of set pieces that we really didn't make the best use of either. And in the second half, it was a very frustrating second half. Huddersfield played it quite well, I think, in that, you know, again I refer to this narrative of having a strong first half, but then second half we start to feel the pressure as a home side, we start to panic a little bit, we start to try too hard, and sometimes we'll probably go off book from what Rafa Benitez wants us to do. And you know, I found that we were losing possession quite easily. Now, players like Lejeune and Yedlin, I felt were guilty of just trying to play the ball out of defence almost too cleverly. We got ourselves into a couple of scrapes. Again, nothing came of them, but there was just warning signs that a better team might have easily punished us there. Kennedy tried a lot of kind of flair and flicks today, which he otherwise hasn't been doing. He's been, you know, a lot more sort of tactically restricted, I guess, in his approach. And even Perez, again, was a player who was struggling to hold the ball up against maybe slightly bigger defenders, which we know is a weakness of his in terms of his strength. It's not to say that these players, and Perez included, and Kennedy and Lejeune, like they were still working really hard and succeeding in other elements of that play. I think it was just the possession stat. I think it was like this notion that, you know, with 63% possession in this game, which are probably the highest of the season so far, that we just didn't really know what to do with it when we had it, and we were almost having to adapt to that in the first half. Despite the chances we created, we just had to adapt to that, and we started to feel almost less comfortable with it in the second half. And there was just a few moments where I thought Huddersfield might smell blood here and go for it, but they ended up not. Moy, who we thought might have been too injured, just ruled out through injury because he got injured in national duty for Australia. He did start, but it wasn't the Moy that played against us in the reverse fixture at the John Smith Stadium who got the winner. It wasn't the same player at all. Ultimately, Diarmi and Shelvey once again ran the show, and I think Shelvey was superb to watch today. I'll give my man of the match to Shelvey because he was involved in absolutely everything, and just watching him on the pitch and do his own thing. And, you know, sometimes the ball's way over there, but by looking at Shelvey, you're trying to second guess where the team's move might go a few steps ahead. And Shelvey's one of those players who has the vision and has the forethought to see, well, what could happen in the next few moves. And he was all, you know, what he does, he loves to receive possession, and he gets visibly annoyed if someone just doesn't make a simple pass to him, even if he's got a man on him and another player is quite well positioned and free. He gets annoyed. He's somebody who he wants to be on the ball, he wants to affect play, he wants to be influential. And it was another performance from Jonjo Shelvey that was mature, that was tactically superb. He was defensively minded. He blocked a couple of crosses, for example, and, you know, his ability just to spread play and keep things ticking over. Diarmi again did that quiet breaking up role today very well until he was replaced by Hayden later on. But Jonjo was just there. He was everywhere, and, you know, if it was a kind of Moy versus Jonjo Shelvey, there's really no comparison today. Jonjo Shelvey played him off the park. And, you know, it's performances like that made the difference today. Now, we had Slimani did come on for Dwight Gale, as did, and Richie, who had obviously been injured and, you know, probably wasn't absolutely 100%, was replaced by Atsu. And after kind of a frustrating start of the second half, I still felt that we had a few more chances in us and that we might just nick it, and we absolutely would have been full value for the 3 points. But at the point, at this point, it was still 0-0, and then we got a breakaway, and Atsu was found on the right wing, who usually pops up on the left hand side, but he popped up on the right hand side, and he sort of very, very intentionally, Islam Slimani made a dash to the back post, and Atsu had spotted this, and he chipped a long ball into the back post. Now the keeper, as much as I would absolutely 100% expect that goalkeeper to get a palm on that cross, it just made him stretch for it. He was then out of position, and suddenly it palms it to Kennedy, who, and the 6-yard box at this point is crowded by Huddersfield defenders because they realise the danger here. But Kennedy has the composure. He could have just lashed it at goal, and I wouldn't have blamed him because we needed a goal at that point. This is in the 80th minute, but he just had that composure to just square it to Perez, who then just sort of slid in and just tucked it away. And the celebrations were absolutely amazing. It was a huge sigh of relief. And for me, it was just the magnitude of that goal, and we'd absolutely deserved to win today. But it was the magnitude of finally scoring, having that release, and to know that we're not mathematically safe right now. Of course we aren't, but we're well on the way. We still have West Brom, who are dead men walking. We still have West Brom to host at St James's Park. We still got to play Watford, who are massively inconsistent. So there's a couple of games there that we can still pick up some more points, and I fully expect us to nick a few draws here and there and do well and maintain this momentum that we've gathered. I mean, some great comments from Kennedy in the week, talking about, really talking up a permanent move to Newcastle. He loves the shirt, he loves wearing the shirt, he loves playing here. And I think it's because he feels wanted, he feels adored here. And, the claps in the corners that he was getting for corners, mind his corner taking wasn't amazing today, I must say, but it just kind of, I think it was an acknowledgement of those comments that he would like to stay here. Obviously, there's a long way for that to happen. Lots of things can happen between now and the end of the season, and throughout the summer. But you can tell why Rafa Benitez wanted him. He's played about 7 games for Newcastle. He scored 2 goals. And he's got about 5 assists now. That's just huge. He's contributed to basically a goal every game he's played on average, and it's the quality like that makes the difference. The fact that we could bring on a striker that was bought for 30 million quid a couple of years ago, that's massive. He's probably the highest valued player that's ever played for Newcastle, given that we just don't spend the money, Maybe barring Alan Shearer by the time he'd accumulated a decade worth of goals. But he it's this quality that we've got. Dubravka, who didn't really have a save to make, in the final stages had to make a very, very brave, it wasn't really a save, but he just had to snatch a loose ball, and he sort of took it in the face as well. So I was really, really pleased with, that's the sign of quality as well, having had nothing to do for most of the game, and then when it really matters, sticking his face in where many wouldn't put their boot, and it secured us. It helped us secure the full 3 points. There was times in those last minutes that I thought we were going to throw it away because we panicked and it was nervous. But do you know what? I'm not going to criticise the players for being nervous there, because again, the magnitude of this win, what it means against our relegation rivals, the fact that Huddersfield have once again choked against teams around them. They didn't beat Swansea, who were down to 10 men for 80 minutes. They've lost at home to Crystal Palace, and now they've come away to Newcastle. And just it doesn't look like they've even tried. Not one shot on target. That's appalling. And with one shot on target, you can't expect to get anything out of the game. You really don't deserve it, and it's testament to our players and Rafa Benitez that they kept the composure and kept going right until the end, because it's something that we haven't often, or certainly haven't always seen in the second half of our games, that we kind of give up, and the mentality, when the doubt starts creeping in, and we just kind of crumble and fall apart. But that goal, absolutely huge. So currently we are up into 12th place. We've still got 7 games to go. We've got 35 points now, so we're 7 points clear of Southampton in 18th, so 7 points clear of the relegation zone. 7 games to go. Our goal difference is now -9, which is now the 9th highest in the Premier League. I mean, that's just an insane stat given how little we've spent over summer. It's incredible, because more than 9 teams have outspent us in the last few windows. It would be ridiculous. So the fact that we've got a very settled back 5 now, the fact we've got a very settled, in fact the whole starting 11 seems settled, and now you've got Islam Slimani coming into the mix, who will not be available for the away game at Leicester next, but he will, he'll be pushing for a start against Arsenal, which is on the Sunday, I believe, in a couple of weeks' time. So Gayle, he could have done with maybe tucking away one of those chances, because now he's got genuine competition, and this is only going to be good for us. And Paul Dummett in the week again, in a Times article with George Colkin, was quoted how he welcomes competition at left back. He wants to push himself, and that's great to hear. That he's not a coward. He doesn't fear competition. He doesn't want an easy ride. He wants to be pushed to the maximum of his abilities. And Rafa Benitez will be able to do that to an extent, but it's only when somebody else is there, first team left back, really vying for that jersey, that he's going to really step up his game. And so we're going to see the absolute best of Paul Dummett and a lot of the players. Providing there's competition, everyone's going to just be working that little bit harder, and that's something that we've not really had the luxury of, and why we need a summer where we get to spend reasonable amounts of money. We don't expect to be spending 200 million, but we certainly need to be looking at 60, 70 millions worth of investment if we want the quality to stay in this league, if we want the quality to progress and build something with Rafa Benitez at the helm. We can't do that unless we have the squad depth that a regular Premier League side needs, and to be able to compete across multiple competitions. That's where we need to be at, but at the minute that's still a long way off. So that's it. We're looking really, really good at the minute. If we just have a look at the table again, so Everton losing Man City now on 40 points. We're 5 points behind them. So Bournemouth and Watford, I believe, drew today, both above us on 37. So and it's not beyond the realms of possibility that we finish in the top half, which would be crazy. If we finish in the top half, that would honestly be one of Rafa Benitez's greatest achievements. I mean, and I don't say that lightly, because of the trophies and silverware that he's won and the accolades that he's achieved throughout his very illustrious career. We're so lucky to have him, and he needs to be treated by the owners. He needs to be treated as the man that he is, and as the talented, world-class, elite manager that he is. If we don't back him financially, then we're going to be in trouble. But I hope that with survival all but secure, maybe some takeover action and we can get the ball rolling again. We can really start to look ahead, and imagine a future without Mike Ashley here, who's a poison. He doesn't want to be here. We don't want him there. Nobody wants him there. So just leave. Let somebody else have another go. Somebody who's going to back a world-class manager and a team that's managed to secure themselves in the Premier League. But let me know what you think. Do you think we're safe now? Do you think there's a lot of work still to do? Do you think Islam Slimani will get a start at Arsenal? And is it now not even a case of what other teams are doing? Is it now just a case of, well, we're Newcastle, let's worry about ourselves, let's worry about our results, and anyone else below us and around us can just do what they want? Because ultimately, it's about what we do, it's about what Rafa does that's going to matter. What a win. Absolutely massive victory today. Huge 3 points. We're nearly there. Thanks very much for watching. I've been Adam the Toon Network. Please subscribe on YouTube and catch all of the videos first. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and we're also on SoundCloud and iTunes if you want to listen to the audio version of this video as a podcast. Many might not want to see me face, so you're fully in your own rights to do that. Thanks very much. What a day. I'm knackered. but the adrenaline's still pumping. Come on. See you later. I've been Adam. Bye. Bye.